All rise. Commissioner Arner, if you can lead us in the prayer and pledge.
Father, we gather in this meeting during this special time of the year. We thank you for the opportunity to serve our communities. We ask for your protection and guidance over every family. We pray for the ill that they find comfort. We pray for the countries with conflict to have peace. And we pray for those with fighting addiction to find hope. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
These proceedings are being recorded for the sole purpose of preparing accurate written minutes. Recordings are overwritten following approval of the minutes, eliminating all unofficial records of these proceedings. The first item is the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting of December 5th, 2024.
Motion approved.
Second?
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes. Are there any guests here concerning county business, other than those who are not already on the agenda? Hearing none?
Our next item, presentation, Carbon County Penn State Extension, Client Relationship Manager, Jennifer Mercero.
Good morning. Where would you like for us to? Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name is Tara Mondoff. I'm the Associate Director of Client Relations. I'm here from State College, from our main campus at Penn State. I am pleased to be joined by a number of my colleagues and our County Extension Council members. I'd like to introduce Jennifer Mercero, who is our newly appointed Client Relationship Manager. She'll assume the responsibility of the sort of daily relationship with the county. She backfills Steve Alessi, if you, the position that you vacated when you went to work in Sanford, rural PA. And I'm joined by Joe Vashensky as well. He's our Master Gardener Coordinator. Some great work here in the county. Monroe and Tony, which I believe you all know from our County Extension Council. Thank you all for joining us. Commissioners, I'm pleased to introduce, again, be joined by the staff. Jennifer actually joined us in October, so she spent the last couple of weeks on the road with me, getting to kind of know the lay of the land with Extension. So you'll be seeing more of her as she gets settled in. I want to thank you. We did receive confirmation on the county's appropriation for Penn State Extension, Carbon County, and on behalf of the Extension leadership team, I want to extend our heartfelt gratitude for your continued support and funding of our programs. Our funding enables programs like 4-H, Master Gardeners, and the resources in order for us to continue to serve the agricultural community here in Carbon County. There's a variety of agricultural producers, as you well know, that produce products like forage, hay, haylage, cultivated Christmas trees, corn for grain, nursery, stock crops, soybeans for beans, and some growing presence in indoor agriculture with facilities like Liberty Farms. So we are honored and privileged to serve that agricultural community here, and again, your support enables us a place to deliver those programs here in the community. I do want to say, while funding allocated this year is less than what we had initially requested, we deeply appreciate your commitment to the mission and the resources that you've provided us. That support again enables us to continue delivering valuable services. I want to assure you that we have sufficient resources to to sustain our operations here for the ensuing year. So we remain dedicated to maximizing the impact of every dollar received, and we look forward to demonstrating the positive outcomes of that investment. I want to thank you again for your trust and support and extension. We're excited about the future and a continued partnership with Carbon County. I want to take a few minutes to go through the quarterly highlights very quickly. We do have a PowerPoint deck I printed for you as a leave behind. I won't go through that page for page, but I did want to highlight some things that we're doing here in the county. Our flagship program, 4-H, is led by our 4-H educator, Kayla. She's doing an amazing job on leading the programming efforts and managing the program delivery to our 4-H members. Enrollment's open, and we want to encourage youth and to sign up. We have existing members signing up through December, and then open enrollment through March and the spring. So we're preparing also for PA 4-H week coming up in the spring, so that happens in mid-March, so we'll be in touch with you to organize presentation of a proclamation to celebrate that milestone each year. Look forward to that, and celebrating the 4-H members and their accomplishments. Master Gardeners are doing some really great work. We kicked off our new training class. We have 4 new trainees. We hosted recently our annual recognition banquet at the Carbon Career and Technical Institute. The event allowed us to recognize the Master Gardeners for their years of service and the hours they've given to education and outreach in the community. It also gave us a chance to host an educational session on forestry management. The Master Gardeners are also working on a DEP grant, and they're partnering with the Valley Veterans and First Responders to support the Memorial Native Plant Garden. And they're collaborating again with the VFW and the Carbon County Office of Veterans Affairs. So wonderful partnership for us. The purpose of that project is to create a garden that can be used for honoring, memorializing, reflection, healing, and it becomes a place of solitude for members of the local community. It'll also be a place for us to deliver programming and education, as well as focus on eradicating invasive species and the benefit of planting native plants. We're going to kick off our poison prevention program. You all might know it as Mr. Yacht. We do that in our first grade classroom, so that work will begin in February. And our goal is to exceed the reach beyond last year's numbers of 700 students. So we're expecting to grow that number as well. We'll be hosting It's Time to Plant, an educational event in April. That full-day event will happen with 4 garden-related educational talks that will get people motivated to begin gardening in the spring, right around planting season. It also gives us a chance to highlight the Master Gardener program for those that are interested in getting involved. The Master Gardener program plant sales coming up. It's also a great opportunity for the community to get engaged, but that is an opportunity for us to raise additional funds that offset the costs for delivering programs here in the county. So those proceeds all go to support the educational programs. Again, it allows us to match the funds from the commissioners to support the growth of that program. And lastly, the Master Gardeners will also be hosting or be a part of the Sportsman and Outdoor Expo that's hosted by Representative Doyle Heffley. Our Food, Families, and Communities program unit, you all might remember Peter Wolfhurst. He's our longtime extension educator. He's provided, he's part of our water team. He's done a lot of pond and water management for consumers, as well as a number of providing oversight for some of the other water projects related to the community. He is retiring at the end of this month, and so we want to wish him well. We'll be celebrating with him as we make our way to back to the office. And as we look into 2025, we look forward to organizing our County Extension Council member meetings. Those take place at our office just down the road. We do invite the commissioners to join us, to have a seat on that council. It gives us a chance to listen for opportunities to bring more of those resources from our program teams to bear here in the county. So we invite the commissioners to consider attending. If we have someone that can be appointed and join us, I'm sure that would go a long way with hearing those needs and positioning those needs with our program team members who attend as well. And then lastly, we look forward to our annual day in the county with you. Jennifer is going to be reaching out and securing a date for us to sit down and do that event. It's an opportunity for us to really showcase all the work that we're doing with Extension, but also listen for opportunities to bring more resources to the county that are needed. Again, I just want to thank you for the partnership and the support of Extension, and wish you all a happy holiday and Christmas.
Thank you. And you? Anyone else have anything to say?
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
You wouldn't happen to know by chance about when that meeting will occur with the council?
With the council, it's generally in 2025. We're arranging those dates now. We're going to go back today for council at noon. We'll have lunch. If you want to join us, you're welcome to come over. Yeah.
We wish we could, but we're in other places.
Yes, yeah, but we'll get those dates. Yeah, if we can secure we'll share those dates with you once we get them secured, so that if you can consider having a commissioner sit in with us, that would be wonderful and welcome.
Thank you, and I look forward to sitting down and have a more informal chat
Yes,
with all of us and with what's going on and what the plans are in the future and what else is occurring that we could attend. We went to the 4-H awards
yes.
dinner last month. I always enjoy that. Ag Days, I wanted to get there with Mike this past summer, but unfortunately, our conflicting schedule. Mike is not familiar with farms whatsoever. He drives by them, and so I think it'd be a great opportunity to educate
Oh, we
our
love that.
commissioners that were raised in the city like Jim Thorpe, you know, so, and don't know what happens and never had to clean a barn or anything like that, so looking forward to getting them educated in that.
We also invite you, there is a day at Farm Show coming up for the local
Yeah,
elected
I've seen
officials.
that.
We'd love to take you around and show you around. if
And
you're-
I actually did register for it because it looks
Good.
interesting.
Yes.
But with our schedule, I don't know how
It's-
we're gonna
yeah.
be able to make something. I think, wasn't it like on a Wednesday or?
It's a Wednesday, it
Yeah,
is.
so,
Do you know what the day it is?
yeah,
It's-
it's,
I think it's the 8th, if
Yeah.
I'm not
January 8th.
mistaken.
yeah.
January 8th, yes.
Maybe we can cancel all 7 of the meetings.
You got that, Ally, nothing for the 8th?
I'll bring the information back, how's
Yeah.
that?
We'll share that with you as a follow-up to get those key dates to you. Ag Progress Days is also the other opportunity for us to head down to State College where, in Rock Springs, just off campus there, we do a full 3-day spread on the research and extension work around centered in agriculture. It's a really great opportunity to learn about the things we do there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Okay. Our next guest, presentation, Carbon County Comprehensive Plan and Greenway Trail and Open Space Plan. Mr. Timothy Staub, the Assistant Vice President of Herbert Roland Agruba.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I prepared a PowerPoint. I won't go through line by line here for you.
Thank
Just
you.
want to give you the highlights.
You do know how many fish we have though in Carbon County, right? Fish,
Fish?
how many fish we have? No.
Not how many fish we have right now. Probably very cool, but right now, or whatever. So I wanted to just give you an update of where we're at since the last time we talked in June, and give you an overall what was accomplished with the project so far, some of the findings, how the plan, remind you of how the plan was gonna be structured, that's what we discussed at the last time, and some of the themes that we're hearing and moving forward with. So, we're right on schedule. We're in the midst of preparing, both plans with recommendations, built off of themes, and then, the committee actually just did their homework and we got all our objectives back from that we prepared and they reviewed. And, they also, were struggling, based on talking to David this morning, of, providing who could help with implementation of some of these tasks. So that, as we wrap up the year, we're finalizing hopefully a draft report first quarter of 2025, but we're ahead of schedule in that regards. We're in the midst of identifying if there's any key areas that we still need to discuss that they may be in disagreement with. As I indicated last time, we had an open public survey that didn't receive the results that we were hoping for, so we ended up pivoting and meeting people wherever they're at. So as you see, here's some of the events that we attended over the summer and into the fall season, as well as we conducted 15 key person interviews associated with either some of these organizations and or other community event leaders. So to get us a better sense of what's going on in the trenches in the county, since we went to the Carbon County Fair and we got a lot of residents, but we also got some regional people attending. So that was good feedback, but we wanted to make sure that we filtered through that information to notify whether or not it's a county resident making this comment versus a visitor to the county. So some of the things that have been brought to our attention and through the steering committee's work as well as all the other, activities that we have attended, housing is a critical item. I noticed that there's affordable, housing ordinance on the agenda today. That the one thing that we've noticed as part of our work is that there's different, symptoms throughout the county. It's not specific to one specific symptom throughout the county where, you have commuters coming from New York, New Jersey in the Northeast versus industrial companies located in Hazelton and workers trying to go there, and then you have in the Northwest, and then the southern part of the county, Lehigh Valley, is moving into Carbon County because it's the affordable area for the region, and affordable is, questioned at this stage when, we got the housing summit and they're saying that, land value with a well and a septic system is around $400,000, and that's without even having a house on it. So, that is all starting to be baked into what the plan is gonna set forth. Another interesting, statistic is over the last decade, 10% of your total population has decreased year-round residents. So you have more people, doing short-term rentals, Airbnbs, Verbos, and so forth. So that also complicates the housing picture for your county and increases, price points for your residents to live and afford, in the county. One thing that we're noticing is infrastructure needs are large item ticket items, and they're more regional, more robust, so it's gonna require some more collaboration as opposed to previously, maybe the local municipality can handle, a road fix or maybe a bridge or culvert. So those are things that we need to move forward, as well as the information, how largely is paper still. So getting that information into digital, information moving forward would be helpful. From, another thing that kind of complicates, the picture in, Carbon County is some of the local municipalities, some of the highest intensity uses are associated in areas that can't support it from an infrastructure standpoint. So, from an economic development standpoint, then you're not gonna see the economic development because there's no infrastructure to support what is there. So, in the past, it may have been, well, we don't want this use here, so we'll put it here, so we'll never come to this area. But it could be something that could be beneficial from an economic standpoint to consider at the local level. A positive is every home, within Carbon County is within 5 miles of a trip. And it's something that should be promoted. As well as you have a ton of amenities, and as we heard initially on, we wanna connect those to those natural, recreational, historical amenities that are here. There's a lot of interest in reinvesting in your villages and boroughs, and the discussion of what should we do with regenerating some of these brownfields. So that's what we've heard as part of the process. Moving into the plan structure, if you recall from our conversation in June, this is not a comprehensive plan where it's gonna be a 300-page document. This is gonna be a document that's gonna probably be less than 100 pages, but it's gonna be built in specific themes that are important based on some of the key findings we're hearing. So you'll see those themes playing out here, but the structure of the plan will be an overarching vision for both plans, that is, and then there'll be a theme, goals associated with the theme, and then objectives. And as I indicated earlier, that the committee has already prepared goals. They've agreed with most of the goals that were presented, and now we're at the objective level determining how specifically can we implement the goal and the theme. So the themes, from a comprehensive plan standpoint, we have 4 themes that we're focusing in on. Places of possibility, housing, a promising path forward, outdoor economy, a more sustainable future in infrastructure, and thriving communities and placemaking. So we're gonna tie a lot of the things that we just discussed into these 4 buckets, if you will, to address those key findings. From a Greenway Trails Open Space Plan, we want to make sure that the county's connected, building off of those 5 miles from every house, protecting the open space and building off of what's been done recently for open space and greenways in the community, continue farmland preservation, celebrate the historical and cultural sites, and then diving deeper into outdoor recreation as a leverage point for economy, and then invigorate with tourism and how to balance tourism within the county where some of the infrastructure is very taxed at this moment. So from a next step standpoint, as I alluded to earlier, that we're finalizing objectives, hoping to have the draft plan prepared in the early quarter, which will entail, identifying what are the priorities. So, with every plan, there's gonna be a whole host of recommendations, but we're working with the committee to determine what are the top most objectives and priorities to move forward with. Some of them will be things that you can just do administratively differently. Others could be, may need some financial assistance. Others may, hey, we may need some other people to the table to discuss this further. And so that's through March and April discussion of building implementation capacity. So we'll have the goals, themes, and objectives out to the public on the website for review. And our anticipation then is to come before you in the spring with a final plan for your consideration for adoption.
Very good. Any questions?
Just a quick comment, just the other day, we met with, Tuesday, I guess it was, with the Center with Rural PA, had their board meeting here. We had a good luncheon where a lot of good conversation, and one of the biggest factors was the housing, lack of infrastructure. So we went up to the Kalahari when they had that housing summit and that, and we're hearing it all over, not only here, CCAP, other counties as well, is the affordable housing, why they're not coming here, infrastructure, costs, and so many other variables, not in my backyard and things of that nature, so extremely challenging thing that we're facing, and trying to, promote affordable housing. Some of the problems that I mentioned, how do you overcome them, and who do you get to invest in these properties? It just, like you just pointed out, the amount of what it costs for these places. The other thing I brought up at a meeting again yesterday was the over-regulation was another factor. And we just did a DEP permit for developing a well, treating the water, et cetera, for our animal shelter, back up to the prison, et cetera. But the permit alone is 965 pages, and we wonder why our engineering costs and everything are so high. It's just everything that we have to go through to develop property is pretty unbearable. People just can't afford it anymore, so how do we come up with a solution? So I'm sure you're gonna have that in your report.
We'll have all kinds of silver bullets for you. The good news is you're not the only county that's
No.
working through
No.
the housing challenges. It's a national issue. And so there are some precedents out there that we can leverage to recommend here for Carbon County. However, it has to be right-sized to your communities and ultimately implemented locally with the municipalities through their zoning. And, some of the limits are building code requirements, that, it has to be certain standards, and those standards are put in place for reasons. But there are some instances where there's conflict points that maybe we can make some recommendations there. And the development style, the other thing that I didn't mention in the key findings is the increase in childcare and the lack of childcare providers. The lack of childcare providers is the ability to make a living wage. So you add that in with the housing prices, and it's very challenging. And so you almost need to layer some of these recommendations to help.
And there's no affordable housing in Carbon County.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, with the influx of everybody coming in here, they're selling houses someplace else for $700,000, and then they come in here and look at a rancher that's probably $100,000 over the value they're giving for it, and people in our area can't afford that. I mean, I'll tell you what, my wife took off of work to watch the grandchildren. I think it cost almost $600 a week for a kid for childcare. Like, you can't make an adult working that's making maybe $42,000 for 2 kids. That's not even paying for the childcare today. You know, it's like, but I said the housing in our area, and I think you can look at it, and the houses are not worth what they're giving for. Because they're coming in and we have an overabundance of appeals because they think they're paying too much money and they are. But they come in here and they're paying it. You know, now they come in and want their taxes reduced. Like, I wasn't the one that bought it for $100,000 over top of what it was worth. And it's good for somebody that might have a house, oh, I can get another $100,000, but try to buy a house that you wanna upgrade to, now you went from 200,000 to 400,000. You know, that house should only been 250, but now they're up to 400,000, and that's gonna be reality. And that's what I said, like, even like sometimes with this transportation, like we go to these meetings, and I know they wanna do that rail from here to Strasburg. Yeah, it's a good thing, but are more people, it's gonna give them more access to the area to get to their job in New York. So is that gonna make it worse for our housing?
And that's the challenge, and like I said, there's a couple things that you can do to leverage to help supplement, but there's no silver bullet at this stage.
No.
Just unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
The trouble is we have a beautiful area and everybody wants to come here.
Well, and yeah, some of the driving forces that people selected homes before are different now. Like,
Yeah.
when I was looking for a house, I was looking at, a nice area, but, a good place to raise a family, and now you can work pretty much anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you choose a beautiful area to live, right?
Exactly, and like I said, we're probably one of the only counties that has access to the trail like any other county does. I mean, we have access throughout the whole county, and they're working on more that's actually going from here over to Schuylkill County.
Yeah,
So this is the place that people wanna come to.
absolutely, yeah, and, well.
Yeah, that's
It's a deep dive, and I'm willing to have those conversations with you guys, but I'm gonna try to be respectful of your time today.
Very good. Thank you. All right.
Move on.
Yes,
Report of executive sessions held.
there were none.
The department reports the budget transfers.
Motion approved.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes,
There are no supplemental appropriations. Expenditures, approval of check numbers 247882 through 248046 for expenditures to the general fund clearing account totaling $1,219,736.69.
Motion approved.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The treasurer's report.
Motion.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
Personnel reports for county departments.
Motion approved.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes,
The acknowledgements for courts and borough offices.
Motion acknowledged.
Second,
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
yes.
Correspondence was received as listed. Copies will be made available to the press upon request. Our next item is advertising requests. We have numerous requests, and I'm going to ask the board if they would consider voting all in one motion. Item number 24-567, 568, 569, 570, 571, and 572.
I will make the motion to vote on all, from 567 to 571,
72.
or 72.
Second,
I will
Mr.
just make a quick comment on that so everyone kind of knows. On 571 meeting schedule, it should be noted that beginning next year, the county commissioners will move to meetings on the first and the third Thursday of every month, getting away from our weekly meetings. that came as commissioners had sat throughout the year and worked some things out. It's much more productive, obviously, you know what it takes to get a meeting together on a weekly basis. And moving some staff around as we had done throughout the year, realigning, as you see our county's administrator here was able to call out motions all in a group. That gets things kind of slowed down, and it also speeds process up, and it takes what it's taking 2 days in the office to get meetings ready. We can still do it in 2 days, whether it's a meeting once a week or once every other week. So starting in January, we will begin at 10:30 here in the conference room on the first and third Thursday of every month. On the first of the month, on the first Thursday, we will have salary board, and on the third Thursday, we will have election and retirement, and that'll be January. Well, January we do have a special salary board meeting that's been advertised, but that's the normal salary board that we have every.
Yeah, January would be, January 6th is the annual salary board meeting, followed by the commissioners meeting. And then the commissioners will not meet again until the third Thursday.
And we can go to State Farm Shop.
And we should be able to make the State Farm Harvest. But we really have been able to streamline a lot in the office this year, and I commend our county administrator for working with us on that, because it is going to make things a lot smoother here. And I'm sure the news media is going to appreciate not needing to be here every week also.
And I think the people behind the scenes that make us look good,
Yes.
I mean, like this young lady sitting here and the other ones that are in her office, I'm sure they would like to maybe streamline a little bit easier too. So I think it's more or less for their benefit. But we have a lot of things like even this morning, you get phone calls during the meeting. I can't call anybody back until like 2 o'clock this afternoon. Then we have other events. It's like tough to have it. So it's gonna work out.
It'll work much better. So I'd make comment on that. The other one I'll make comment on, because hopefully it'll cut up some of it, is you may have noticed on 572, which is the parking ordinance, the county is changing parking rates. Currently, all the Monday through Friday rates will remain the same. So all the county residents that come here to do business here in the county, that will all remain the same, Monday through Friday. Those rates will not increase. They will remain at $8. It should be noted, we do have a stamp that you can get that waived for 2 hours when you come in. You have the row office stamp it and you get a credit. So it's free parking for anyone who's doing business here, coming into the county and has an appointment scheduled. That is all gonna remain the same. What will change on that is any buses, campers, or vehicles, towing trailers during Monday through Friday will go from $15 to $25. The biggest change that you will see in the county, and this is a change that obviously you saw in the budget this past month, that by increasing some meters last year, we were able to shift about $500,000 from the parking fund to help balance the budget. So this year, the Saturday, Sunday, and holidays rate, and this is to be in line with, we went around the area and we looked at other places that were charging parking. People were getting anywhere from $20 to $25 for those spots. Right here in downtown, not actually at the county lot. Some people were paying $20 even at 5 miles out of town. So when we looked at all of that, and the county was currently charging $15 for Saturday, Sunday, and holidays, we are going to be changing that to $25. Also changing with that will be the going from 50 cents in the area where you're will be going to $1. And bus campers and trailers on the weekends will be charged $75. So you see where those changes are, and I do have a copy of that if the press wishes to take a picture, but those are the changes. It will, as you can see, it primarily will affect those who visit the county on weekends and holidays. The residents that need to do business and those in the county, there's no change. Nothing has changed on that. This is just to take care of some weekends and holidays and pass some of that along. I don't know if any fellow commissioners have any comments.
No,
on
I
that?
just like he even spoke to about these vouchers, like when any of these good people that are working, trying to put things together for us, make sure you bring your license plate number in, because we don't want to ticket you. I'd hate to give you a $45 ticket for coming in to help us. I don't think they're giving any tickets right now. We shut them off for like a half an hour, so you shouldn't get a ticket now.
And I do know that there are, I think the borough, Jim Thorpe is looking at raising some rates again. So when we looked at all of that and we took to the study of the whole area, the county obviously was the cheapest in the area. And we feel what was happening with that is, let's face it, if you go up the street, you're gonna pay $20, but right downtown here, you're only gonna pay 15 or 25. You try to get here first. So hopefully if we're all at the same rate, people will go to those alternate spots also, because it doesn't matter if you park here or there, you're still paying basically the rate. And we actually made ours a little bit higher, trying to push the traffic so it's not as congested in downtown Jim Thorpe, that you're saying, okay, you're paying a little bit more for a premium spot, so maybe you'll look somewhere else before you come here and help with some of that congestion that has been happening in the county, primarily on weekends and holidays. So that kind of solves some of that problem too. No further comment. If there isn't any, then we'll call a vote.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Next item is archives, item number 24573, a service agreement with Reynolds Business.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
I wanted to give them a chance, go on.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Children and Youth, item number 24574, agreements.
Motion to approve and execute.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
GIS mapping, item number 24575, I'm going to request the board to table this matter for a week.
I'll make a motion to take it for a week.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Opioid settlement funds, item number 24576, acceptance of a proposal from Randox Technology.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
The solicitor's report?
Thank you. For the Agency on Aging, item 24-577, motion for approval and execution of the first extension of the agreement with Connect America LLC.
Motion to approve and
Second.
execute.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Item 24-578, motion for approval and execution of an agreement with 4D Karaoke and DJ Services and Entertainment.
Motion to approve and execute.
And second, as everybody sees on the agenda there, we should be there singing karaoke right now, so. I'll second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
We'll be there.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Next, item 24-579, motion to adopt resolution 24-046, recognizing Larry A. Deal of Lehighton, Pennsylvania for 50 years of service to the Franklin Township Fire Company.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
And lastly, item 24-580, seeking motion to authorize FSL Public Finance to solicit quotations for the 2025 tax and revenue anticipation note.
Motion to approve and execute. Motion to approve, I'm sorry.
You broke your glasses.
I can't see a damn thing.
Just so you know, that don't happen to us city folk. We know how to take care
Do you have a motion? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Nothing further for the solicitor's report.
Any further business? Hearing none, commissioners' reports. Mr. Honor?
No, I talked enough.
Mr. Notstein?
Yeah, just wanted to mention one thing, when we talked about the visitors and the traffic and everything, we just got the report yesterday, it didn't make the agenda, but at the visitor center, we had 77,000 people in the month of October. That's a lot of cars. And, the 3-day weekend, Columbus Day weekend, we were told that they had 17,000 riders on the railroad, in 3 days, so it's easy to understand why we have a parking problem. That's all I have today.
Okay, Mr. Sifranco?
The only thing I would have is there was, we did false shuttle service out at the lake this year again. And it should be noted that increase of ridership from 23 was up about 850%, if you did those numbers. We made some changes out at the lake to adjust those additional people coming, our parking spots. We changed the way we park. We got rid of some, we had porta potties out there, and we used the park restrooms. We also worked real close with Lanta, and it would be noted that last year, in 2023, when the county did the same parking, we actually lost $676. So we lost money last year. This year, with the commissioners working, people always like to say, well, what do you do? We worked very hard in making those adjustments, and we were able to make $5,700 to the good this year. And it should be noted for the county residents, that money then goes back, obviously, out to the park, and you've seen throughout the year the investments we've been making in the park with new equipment out there. So that money is not put, it's put in the general fund, but it is dispersed back out to the park, and the park uses that for upgrades within the park system. So there is a benefit to that, and by making money this year, we actually were able to, do some more out there for them. That's all I have. Anything else? Meeting adjourned. Election board.
This will be a short one.
Hopefully it's short enough I can drive you guys out to the karaoke.
Yeah. Not really. Did you ever hear Wayne sing?
Come have lunch with us afterwards.
Rocky's even better.
Yeah. I make the dogs howl.
Can I get approval to approve the minutes from election board meeting held on October 10th, 2024, and November 8th and the 14th on 2024?
Motion approved.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Do I have any guests concerning election board business? No. I'd like to ratify the certification of the November 5th, 2024 residential general election.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
Mr. Arner?
Yes.
Mr. Notstein?
Yes.
Mr. Sifranco?
Yes.
Any election board business that you'd like to discuss? No further business?
I have nothing. Meeting adjourned. Okay. With that, we'll start with the questions from the media. We'll start with Ian.
Good morning, gentlemen. With regards to the correspondence from PennDOT with the Kinsley construction project work, where is that Route 209 and over NRR SR 209? Where is that located?
You give them all this praise for the bridges, and now you can't.
Well, they changed it, and
They
it
changed
was like, I'll have to get that for you.
I think it's
Yeah,
the
if-
one with Lansford.
It's the Lansford.
Yeah,
It is
Lansford project, you're right.
Yeah,
I think it's where Lansford
It's
and,
that little bridge in
Yeah.
yeah.
well, right before, right after you come after the high school,
Yeah,
it's,
that bridge there.
And they get a copy of that correspondence?
I think it's actually Summon Hill, really.
Yes.
Is that something else?
Okay. With regards to the advertising for the Affordable Housing Funds ordinance, what is the increase for recording fees of deeds and mortgages?
Making a copy of that.
Bob, no.
Is that 15? You don't have it with you?
Here,
We'll get that
she
to you.
can, yeah, she can have this here.
I was gonna say, if you guys just can, if you just need a copy,
Oh,
if
right.
possible.
Oh, let's see here.
It's all right there in the bottom.
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay.
See, the fees are on the bottom here, like that 94,
Here. I have it.
95 or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the fee for deeds will go from $94.75 to $101.75 for the first 4 pages and $4 for each additional page. For mortgages, it will go from $94.75 also to $101.75. Also $4 for each additional page over 4 pages.
Okay, thank you. I know I have more.
the back.
Okay, I have some. So, with the increase in the parking costs, you mentioned you were able to pull $500,000, for the general fund, or sorry, to balance the budget, health funds budget this year. With the increase next year, are you hoping to be able to pull more than $500,000?
I think that's what we're telling you.
Is there any sort of projected amount that you're hoping to be able to pull?
I would not commit to no more than what we had committed this year, because parking can be, we can have a great year in Carbon County, in Jim Thorpe, and we can have a bad year. So what we're trying to do as the commissioners is take what is a revenue source to offset the cost to the taxpayers here in the county. That could vary from year to year. Obviously, you know, there's real estate, the other taxes that come in, but the bottom line is to sit here and say that we're gonna put a set amount every year there, no. I think that as that grows and not what comes in based on that, that'll base on that number. But there will be money, there is money that comes from the parking lot fund that does. I think the biggest thing that everyone needs to understand is the other problem we have, not only with the parking lot fund, is we do have money on hand. I think I was just with our county administrator, and we have obviously been working with Children and Youth, the state agency, to try to get our money. And they're currently into us for how much was it?
Over $6 million.
$6.2 million. So there has to be funds built up to be able to pay that, and we are waiting to get quarter one of next year, and then they're currently reviewing quarter two. So if you do the math and you figure we're waiting on 3 quarters of payment, always in Justin's. So we do have a meeting. We have been in contact with State Representative Heffley. He has obviously helped with the Office of Aging, getting some of that straightened out, but we do have some serious concerns on the cash flow. So we do, I'm not gonna sit here and play any games, but some of that money that is used in the parking fund at times, we do have to borrow from there so that we can meet payrolls, so that we can pay bills. And that's why that number can vary, is because there has gotta be some money in savings somewhere to pay some bills. It's like it's anywhere else. And I know people will tell you that I don't have money in my savings account to pay bills, and that's correct. And there has been times we've held bills here at the county. But one difference between here and a house is there are people here that are entitled to a paycheck at the end of the week, and they need to pay their bills, and that we need to make sure we have there, and that's like Children and Youth. It's a good example. You know, we're waiting on $6.2 million. I'd love to have that in the bank right now here in Carbon County, and we wouldn't even be talking about a tax increase or any increases, because we'd have a balance.
And even like with aging, you can't stop things there. We gotta, you know, you gotta keep to getting money to the elderly for different services. And even with Children and Youth, you have adoptions going on. You have, you know, all kinds of things happening, and you just can't stop that, you know. And I mean, that's always been my biggest gripe. I mean, we enter our invoices, and it takes months to get it. Why? You know, some of these invoices were already back in July, that the invoices were put in, and we didn't get payment until we complained about it in November, and then 2 days later it came. We shouldn't have to go and ask for money. In fact, we were actually out at our mental health, our joiner board meeting, and I think the first time since the joiner board was together, they had to ask the state for money for mental health. Why? Why is it something that it's in your budget, you do this needs-based budget, and it's supposed to come in January or March or whenever it is, and you have to call and ask for the money? Why? And it puts us, yeah, and it puts us in a predicament. You can't shut things off for Children and Youth or aging. I mean, there's no shut off for that. You know, it's not like you go shut the water off and everything's gonna be okay. I mean, you shut off funding to aging and Children and Youth, we're in trouble. You know, it's gonna backlash to the schools, to everything. You know, so, and I said, we sit here and we're the bad people for doing what we have to do.
So taking that full circle, you ask about the parking lot, that's why that's there, because there has to be a balance. And we could very simply sit here and, as you heard a month ago, you know, we were looking at 7 mills, and we got that all the way down to 3. I feel bad about 3. I mean, my goal was to get to 0, but unfortunately that's not the case. But by shifting this burden there, we're not putting as much of a tax burden back on the taxpayer. We're using a revenue source that we have that we can help the county taxpayers, because people often say, what happens with that? Now you're actually gonna see what we're gonna do with that.
Yeah, for our guests in particular, that all our parking lots, that's, at the lake, this lot has to be done up here. It was supposed to get done this past year, didn't happen because of issues. But, we don't pay anything out of the, general fund or taxpayer dollars for the train station, the electric, the park, the maintenance, the plowing, the people in the parking lot, the paving projects. We're looking at this footbridge coming in from the parking lot is in dire need of replacement or repairs, and what was that, about 800,000? So we are using those dollars to offset taxpayer dollars, especially in the use of the parking lots such as the parks and everywhere else throughout the county.
Okay, and then we heard the covered bridge got hit again the other day.
Well, it actually got hit again yesterday, if you want to catch up on the news. It's,
Is it fixed already? Still getting fixed?
they should have it fixed this morning. They didn't have everything, like the parts they needed for yesterday. But they did have like some kind of warning up that, but they're supposed to be fixing it right now. So it should be fixed. And we looked at cameras this morning. So hopefully by next week, we're gonna have cameras up. So whoever hits it is gonna be arrested. There's only a $75 fine to it. But just like when you get a speeding ticket, it's not 75 bucks, it's 400 till you get done with the process. And our bolts for the one side, just the eye bolts, cost almost 400 and something, like $450 for 5 eye bolts. So that person's gonna have that money to pay. It's gonna be on their insurance that they did something illegal. They went through, it's posted that you're not supposed to go through. And I mean, I don't know how you're going through with a truck that knocks that bar completely off. It's 300 pounds, the bar, and they knocked it off completely and kept going. And it happened the next day again. The same location, the same bar. So I'm not an investigator, but I would say if this person went through at 10:30 day before, they probably went through 10:30 yesterday because they were both the same time. So I think once we have the cameras, but I don't know if people want to risk that, to have that on their insurance and their insurance coming up, and it's like you're not supposed to go over that. I mean, why are you going over it with a 10-foot truck when it says 9 foot? It's like nobody, and I think it's just, they just keep going, and until we start fining people and they realize what it's going to cost them. I mean, it's probably going to cost them $3,000 because Temensing is helping us fix it. So they have to bill us. I don't know what their fee is for 3 men to go out to do all of this. And the parts are probably gonna be $500-600. So this could wind up being a $4,000 or $5,000 project. And it happens all the time. And it was like 2 days in a row. You would have thought, like, we get hit once in a while, and it was 2 days in a row. I thought this was a message I didn't listen to. And I listened to it again. He goes, Rocky, it's Wednesday. And the bar got hit again. So that's the only way we're gonna combat it, is have the cameras up and start arresting people.
And that's lower Tolman.
Yes, that's lower Temensing.
They have been very good to us.
Yeah.
We started replacing the parts, but they get on it right away. They have not billed us yet. At least 2, maybe the 3 of us have all told them, look, you should be billing us for your time in installing this stuff, and if we can start catching these people, then it's gonna be on them to reimburse the township.
And we're fortunate to have the township do that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, if not, we would have to run equipment down there, cause you just can't pick a 300-pound bar up. I mean, you have to have some kind of a loader or something there, so for our guys to go down there, it could cost us a couple $1,000s for 2 days. We're very fortunate that they're helping us with that, but they should bill us.
Okay, I think that's it. You said the camera's going up next week?
Hopefully,
Okay.
yeah,
That's all I have. Thank you.
okay.
Oh, she reviewed her notes.
No, she
questions.
Start the, ooh.
With regards to, Commissioner Noston, you said about the footbridge out here? You said about $800,000 to replace that footbridge from up here?
Yeah, I think that's what about the cost. There's other things there,
Yeah.
an estimate, yeah, because if you, well, don't go underneath and look, I know what people fall over. It's rusting out pretty bad and the rails and everything is getting to be a major, major project.
And I know you guys said right now you're owed $6.2 million from the state for children and youth. Aging, remember, you got 660,000 back, is that correct?
Well, yeah. it
That's
was
600,
600.
602 of the 662 that we were waiting.
Okay, so that one's almost caught up, children. So it's mainly on the state's part, correct, that all this is delayed?
Well, I will blame the state agencies, because every time I blame we talk about other people, we get yelled at.
And
So
it's
I,
not only carbon.
and it's not carbon, it's around the state, but the state agency will tell you they're waiting for the federal money to come from the.
Sure.
Yeah, it's this big, everybody keeps blaming the next person, that's, welcome to government. But unfortunately, the county has to provide those services. And when we don't have that money there, and it's not, then you can't just stop. You can't just say, and that's the problem with the agencies. And then the other problem is there are some Office of Aging that don't use all their money provided by the state, and they have to send that money back, which now starts another whole process, because then they reallocate that money to the counties that could use additional money, and that slows the process down. It's just like Ellie and I were going through it. I mean, we're waiting for Q4, and then they were talking about an advancement of Q1 of next year, but we have got approval for Q2. But we don't get the payment yet. So when you really figure it all out, we're always tracking what was about 3 quarters behind. So we're 3/4 of the year in the hole, not in the hole, but eventually you get it, but you still have to pay those bills for 75% of the year.
Yeah.
And that's a state agency issue.
And I know you said you met with State Representative Heffley. Has he been at least able to help things move along?
We have been receiving emails back and forth from him, and we did speak with him. He has made some inroads. One was with Office of Aging. That money had come out, and he is trying to get a Zoom-type sit-down meeting with children and youth, the agency, the state agency, because he does sit as chairman of the Human Services Committee. So, I mean, he has been trying to cut some of those down for us. Obviously, he gets as frustrated as we do, but we vent on him because he's the state. So he needs to vent higher. So he is doing what he can do there. But, here we have 3 that have to get along out there. They have 212, whatever it is in the state, 257, whatever the number is, I don't know. But they have to try to get all them together, and they can't.
And they need a better system, because even with children and youth, the first quarter is connected to the third quarter. The second quarter is connected to the fourth quarter. But their first quarter is actually from June till September. It's different than ours. So that's what's a problem for us in the first place, because we start in January and they don't start till June. But it's like they need a better system. I'm not kidding you. Like I sit with them all the time and go over it, and how do you connect them? And if there's an issue with third quarter, is that hurting the first quarter that we don't get payment? Like, there could be one little problem. You could submit for $4 million, and there might be an $80,000 issue that they might have with it, so they hold the whole thing up. Why don't they just send us the money, and the issue that has held up, then don't send us that $80,000, and then you can do that in the third quarter when we get the payment for the third quarter, if you want to do that. And nobody even thinks of that. It's like, why are you doing this? And we, even at CCAP, we talk to them at CCAP and say, why is this system like that? And nothing, it still stays the same. And I think it woke us up, I think, at the Joinder Board meeting on Monday, that's the first time that ever happened to the Joinder Board out there in 28 years, that they had to ask for money. And I said, we've been doing it ever since I've been here.
And then what happens is when you do this and there's a budget line request, that creates a whole review. I understand that, but I don't, because, It's not, it's really, it's very unfair to the taxpayer. That there's certain balances that are needed in order to continue to operate a service, and that should not be, it's burdensome enough that the taxpayers have to pay for the service, let alone needing to have a balance to pay for the service they're eventually gonna pay. It's wrong, and it needs to change.
And we're caught up with aging, well, like maybe within 60,000, but what's gonna happen in January, February, and March again? You know what I mean? Like, what are we facing then?
Yeah, because was it last year you guys were owed four point something million from children?
Yeah, that was, yeah, it was-
So you
yeah.
caught up on that and now it's 6.2 for this year? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we were ahead, we were making real great head, and then it just, they throw you into, and that's extremely frustrating, because it's the changes we've made, and we did, and we were getting there, and now it's,
and we have a meeting, we state the same things, and then it comes back to the same thing that we talked about. So I don't know what the meetings are, you know, I don't think meetings are necessary. I think they gotta go down and try to figure out some different kind of policy of giving the money out. Why does it wait that long to get the money? You know, like I said, we can't stop adoptions, you know, we can't stop placing children, you know, putting people in the schools to help the kids, or like I said, with the aging. And I said, my comment was, I think that stuck a thorn in everybody's side. I don't know, doesn't the state care about children and youth and aging? Plain and simple. And I'll still stick with that, because if you wanted to find some way, we would have our money when we're supposed to get it December 24th, or for our Christmas or whatever that we could say it's our Christmas present, but that's when it's supposed to come, not March 24th. You know, and I'm sure, like all the agencies that sit here, you're waiting for money, you know, it repetition all the way through the whole system. And again, like Mike says, we're the ones that are to blame for it.
and I think, and we could go on all day on here, and I don't need to, because Wayne has a karaoke date.
Oh, yeah, that's right, I forgot about that.
I think the point is, when you look at it, we started at, like you had said,
You're gonna be
4.2.
old age soon if you keep talking.
4.2, and then we got it down to 1.9, and we were going in the right direction. So now you're trying to sit down and figure out a budget as to what you need here to fit that. We've got to go, and now we get, boom, numbers come back in, and now you need 6.2. It's like, well, come on. I mean, when's enough enough? So that's kind of where I stand with this.
And just one last question. I know you talked about the parking lot. How many cars can fit in that parking lot?
Well, we had 400, and we lost through like the trail and things like that. I would say maybe 375 to be safe, somewhere around that. Because we lost some with, you know, moving the trail out, and then we did different handicapped areas and things like that. So I'd say we're probably close to 375.
Okay. And by chance, you don't have how many cars have been in your parking lots for the year so far? Would I speak to
That I do not have.
Okay, I'll ask you.
I do have the number. I can tell you how many vehicles were parked out at the lake during fall foliage.
I'll take that.
747.
Okay. Thank you very much, then.
Okay.
All right, that's all we have. Thank you all. Enjoy your weekend. Try to stay dry.